Welcome to the Between the Sundays podcast. We're so glad that you're joining us this morning. It is a great day. It's cold. I am joined with two of my favorite people in the whole world. I won't rank them. One of them is my wife.
Really? You won't rank them?
All right.
No offense, Marty. No offense.
No mistaken. You should rank them.
I'll rank them. Me 3, Marty 2, Madeline 1. But I'm obviously joined by our kids pastor here at Generations Church, Madeline Hale. I almost said Madeline Quinn. I almost said your maiden name.
Oh gosh, this is 2 offenses
which
in
is
one
what
podcast.
We got new insurance this year, and we've been married 5 years, and they sent us a card with her maiden name on it. I don't know.
It's because we spoke on singleness yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot. Okay, we'll
It's
get
on
there.
your mind.
And Marty Marankie, one of the greatest people in the entire world. He does a lot of things here at Generations Church.
That's right.
My favorite thing is that he's my friend, though. But Marty has got his hand in a lot of areas. He told me he took notes on the sermon, which not a lot of people are doing, but we always say note takers are history makers. So he's fantastic. And he also is on our events team.
Yes.
And so he's got some knowledge as far as that. But I'm glad you guys are here.
Happy to be here.
Anything you want to
Be
say?
synced up.
Anything you want to say before we just dive in? Everybody feeling good today?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody feels alive?
I feel alive. I
Everybody
feel cold.
Everybody, I think I got a little runny nose. I was trying to get them to give me a tissue during the third service on Sunday, but I didn't know how to do it nonchalant. But I was like, I felt like my nose was going to start running while I was on stage.
I should have noticed. That's
Yeah.
on me.
Sorry, I didn't make eye contact with anybody. So we have a ton of cool stuff that's happened, but I thought we'd start today by talking about one of our more recent events. Marty, you can probably speak into this best since you helped with the planning and made it all happen. It was fantastic. But we recently had our Marriage Matters conference here, and it was incredible how you pulled it off.
It was
some big memories.
It was fun.
Some late hours.
Yes, for sure. I didn't actually plan any of it. That was all Morgan Pope, our events coordinator.
Hey, shout out to Morgan Pope, our new events
Pope.
coordinator. She's crushing it. She's recruited Marty, which big win for the events team. And
it's not a unique thing to her. Plenty of people have recruited me.
Yeah. Marty's just so good at stuff. Everybody wants him on his team. And so, I think maybe the greatest marriage conference we've had since I've been here.
It was really good. I really enjoyed
fantastic. Shout out to Pastor Mo and his bride for speaking to the people.
They were so good.
Oh, yeah. I felt like my marriage was going to get better that day. I think he unearthed a lot of stuff that was like, oh, yeah, I probably need to get it together. So, but what went into Marriage Matters? What do you feel like was the biggest thing that stuck out to you through the event?
That's a good question. Definitely seeing all the couples there, like enjoying themselves, like that was kind of a good payoff for like all the time we put into it. It's kind of just all the games and stuff. I was taking pictures as well. I got a lot of good pictures of people just enjoying themselves and mingling. And
were you in there at the end where we were giving away the grand prize and everybody's doing their couple story?
Yes,
oh my gosh,
that was interesting.
Some of those stories were that one couple who got up there and they're like, "How'd y'all meet?" And they're like, "We met in the club," and people started like clapping, and he goes, "Why y'all clapping about that?" It's so funny. Dude, that was hilarious.
That was funny.
That was amazing.
And then the two couples that they like paired together, they were like, "Oh, were you the ex-boyfriend for her?"
That was classic misunderstanding, but that was so funny.
Just a wild thing. It's crazy to see like how like God like brings people together and stuff like that. They didn't vote us at our table. They didn't think our story was romantic enough. So we're going to have to make up a better one next year.
I've heard your story. I think it's pretty romantic.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hold you to that when we write the book. I'm going to have you write the foreword. So
I don't know how to read or write.
I'd love to learn how to read one day. That'd be fantastic. Another thing that we've been doing, I think, is our new series that we've been in. We just finished week 3 of 4 weeks. And it is... Does anybody know? Does anybody know what the sermon is?
Marriage.
Okay.
Meddling.
Yep.
Mingling. Mending.
Oh, let's go. With a little help from Marty. Marriage, meddling, mingling, and mending. We haven't got the mending yet, so I didn't have to memorize that one. So I think it's been a fantastic... We try to do a relationship series just like based off relationships. But I think it's been fantastic. I think the marriage one that kicked us off was really good. Did you get to hear the what was the second one? I'm spacing. They're all
Madeline.
Meddling.
I've never been one of those pastors who's like, this is 4 points to start with a P, because I just like get confused. Were you in there during meddling?
I heard bits and pieces of it.
This guy's taking pictures. This guy's getting jobs done. This guy's making sure we have a social media presence. He's doing all of it. But I thought that was fantastic. It definitely spoke to like the tension that we feel in relationship and healing those wounds. And then this past Sunday, we did mingling. Mingling, which was our one on singleness and that kind of season. I can't really speak to it that well because I preached. So if you guys just want to take a couple seconds, just hype me up. Or
Babe, it was so good.
It was so good.
That Christian mingle joke at the beginning.
That Christian,
awesome.
That
was my favorite part.
I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be. I was like, I know several couples who met on Christian mingle, and I feel like they'd laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
But just the greatest formula. If you haven't seen it, go. It's the formula
Definitely
that
worth
we
the
came up
rewatch.
with. But we actually spent most of the time just talking about how the church can better understand singleness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
What do you guys feel like? Did you guys listen? Did you?
I did. I was there.
I was just like, it feels weird. Were you guys listening when I was talking up there on the stage? Were you guys locked in when I was? Did you memorize my speech? I have a person come up to me every Sunday and says, "I loved your speech up there. Or, I loved your talk," and I'm like, I love that. I think that's cool.
I love that. Well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, like at speaking to singles, but also speaking to us, like as the church, and how like we are like one body and one family, and like support one another. I love the perspective on like the passage of Ruth, because Ruth is one of my favorite books in the Bible, as I think most females would probably agree.
It's one of those.
It's one of those books, one of those romance love stories. But it was a really good perspective because, like, even though she does get her Boaz, like that's not entirely the point of the book. Like the whole point is that she was faithful and like followed the Lord like day to day, and in her moments of singleness and of loss, it was like she like still lived every single day faithful, and just like, like Naomi like struggled with like bitterness and resentment, and like she had to find like joy and blessing like at the end of the book. But then you see Ruth like just living faithful, and like how God really did bless and honor that and provided for her. And so but I think my favorite part was the perspective of like us as the family of God, uniting together and like just being so inclusive. Like it's not my family as in like me and Carson and Eden, like it's like we are a family. And so like even we get to do that even Tuesday nights. Like we have
you guys
Marty and
welcome me
all
into your
the
home.
young adults over on Tuesday nights, and that's not to hype us up, that's just something we
quick
really
shout
love
out to
do.
our young adults ministry.
Amen.
Hey, come to our house on Tuesday nights. It's Madeline, a chef.
I promise you we'll find you more chairs.
Somebody we're running out of room. We have a small home, but we will find more chairs.
We will fill
if
it
more
to
people
the brim.
show up. You know what I'm saying? Eventually it'll warm up and we can
We
use
have
the
Carson
back porch.
in the street, like the parking people.
We need to start carpooling.
I am the parking
Parker Williamson
team
brothers.
at our house.
You are the parking team.
And if I don't get a vest soon, I may get hit. Shout out to our neighbor who only yelled at us twice for accidentally driving in his yard. He's doing his best. That's our fault. But yeah. I mean, we've got quite the crew coming over on Tuesday. That's just that's an advertisement. If you feel like a young adult, I mean, we don't even really put parameters on it. But if you're out of high school,
if you think you're young,
and you think you're young, show up at our house.
Young at heart.
7 p.m. Young at heart. I've had a few people that have grandkids that asked if they could come. I always say yes. I'm like, yeah, you're welcome at our house. We'll just make more
Come
food.
over anytime.
RSVP, we'll make more food.
This
So
week is chili night, so
yeah.
come see us.
Oh shoot, are we having chili?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yum.
Oh, dude, I love chili. Are you a bean in your chili guy? I hear in the Midwest they don't put beans in their chilies.
I'm not.
You're not a bean in your chili? Is that like a?
I'm not a lot of beans. If it's like
Do they eat beans?
a healthy amount.
Can I ask? Do they eat beans in Poland?
I don't know. I've never been.
Marty's Polish. I just didn't know the heritage there. Okay, so we went through the book of Ruth. It's fantastic. If you've never read the book of Ruth, listen, it'll take you 15 minutes. I mean, I don't think I read particularly fast. Madeline reads way faster than I do, and I'm impressed. And her comprehension skills are good. I don't know. She must have done like, what is Sylvan Learning Center? I don't know, something. She was doing, y'all remember those commercials?
What
They
a
were like the
throwback.
kids hitting his ear at the pool, and all the like math is coming out of his head. Madeline didn't have that problem. And so...
What a throwback.
Yeah, I remember those commercials.
What
Do they still have those?
I doubt it.
I've never seen a commercial since I was
I don't watch television.
I haven't seen a commercial in years.
We watch Netflix.
We actually watch West Wing every night now. So
Good
it's
one.
25th anniversary. So we went through the book of Ruth.
So what you're saying is read Ruth.
Read Ruth. Takes like 14-15 minutes. We went through the book of Ruth. There's actually one person who, was a widow and just like didn't follow God. We didn't really get into her story. Orpah. She was just like, she bowed out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like Ruth and Naomi like locked in on the Lord. God met them in like grief and whatever path you took to be single, right? Like we talked about celibacy or suppressing same-sex desire or being a widow or being a single mom or dad or you're in your early 20s. I think sometimes we just like have this idea of, singleness is like I'm looking for a spouse and it's a means to an end.
Yeah. But sometimes it's on the
like,
back end of like a lot of hurt, like divorce and widowing and, it's like loss and hurt and like then you've got the whole like struggle through bitterness and resentment and like frustration and like all the messiness of that. And so it's working through that too.
I feel like one of my favorite points you touched on was when they get back to Bethlehem. Naomi tells everybody there to call her Mara.
Oh, yeah.
And then you were like, and in the next verse, the narrator says, "So Naomi."
Yeah,
I was like, if that doesn't speak into how the Lord has plans for us that we don't always know or would like to follow.
Oh yeah.
At the time, but like that definitely spoke to me. Where it's like you may have this bitterness in your heart or certain feelings about your situation, but the Lord has plans for you that He will guide you through.
Yeah, we can't change.
Yeah,
no matter like how many tantrums we throw, which is very relatable because I've definitely thrown a few tantrums with God and just been like, all right, Lord, I'm done. We're like, nothing is going to come of my life. And God's like, ha ha ha,
It's just
okay,
funny,
Madeline.
like how far you can't see, like when you're young, especially. I think the younger people who desire to get married, and we talked about it, like if you have a desire in your heart to get married, the Lord's probably not asking you to be single. But I remember just like being in college. I actually made this joke. I think in the first service. I think I made it in the second. No one laughed, so I definitely didn't say it in the third. But I was like, I talk to high schoolers all the time who think like, oh, I'm never gonna get married based off their sophomore relationship and stuff like that. I'm like, you're probably gonna be okay. But like I remember in college just being like, well, I guess this is the route the Lord has for me.
This is my lot in life.
I'm like 21. I'm like, well, God has asked me to bear this hard burden. But He's giving His toughest battles to His toughest soldiers. And I'm just like locked in. And so, I think that's hilarious. So I think we definitely get like kind of like short-sighted. But God's like narrative is just like, so Naomi, like we're just gonna move past
keep
that.
going on
She
this
didn't
story.
actually say that. We're just gonna
she's
pass
like,
that.
Okay, so
Anyway.
this lady will be fine. But it's been a fantastic series. As we just kind of wrap this up today, just some quick hits, but it's been a really good series. Marriage, mending,
Meddling.
Yes.
marriage, meddling, mingling,
and
and mending. We're gonna fix some broken relationships. Pastor Jeremy's preaching on fixing hurts and stuff in your heart. I'm super excited for it. But hey, thank you guys for joining us today. We loved having you guys here. I'm super thankful Marty was joining the podcast. Marty left work to come be on the podcast today. He is the go. I've been trying to get him on the podcast. Pastor Madeline, she was like, I'm locked in. She was like, I'm willing. And so
I'm excited to be here.
Anything you guys want to say?
We love you guys.
Any last minute advice?
Stay warm out there.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so cold.
Drive safe too.
We love you guys. Thanks for coming on between the Sundays. We appreciate you guys joining us, and we will see you Sunday morning.